Let's Play! Hey there guys, and welcome to Let's Play Shovel Knight. Now, fun fact about this is actually the second time I'm trying to record this. See, the first time, I'm using a new program and stuff with me using my device, and turns out the game volume was way too high, meaning I couldn't even use this footage. But on the plus side, that means that this isn't live, and instead I have experience with this game. Because let me tell you, it is easily one of the best games I've played on the WiiU this year, if not on all games this year. So just starting off, if you want to have a really good time, relic input type, put it to button, please. Basically, like the Mega Man powers, you can put them on a separate button, if you don't want to go full NES style. So, we're going to be starting a new account, and this one will be Let's Play. There we go. So, yes, because I have failed the first recording. Oh, it's let underscore play. Whatever. Who cares? It's just as cool. Sort of like Watch Dogs, except good. So yes, because this isn't going to be blind now, I can show a lot more about this game and how awesome it is. Long ago, the lands were untamed and roamed by legendary adventurers. Of all heroes, none shone brighter than Shovel Knight and Shield Knight. But their travels together ended at the Tower of Fate, when a cursed amulet wrought a terrible magic. When Shovel Knight awoke, the tower was sealed, and Shield Knight was gone. His spirit broken, a grieving Shovel Knight went into a life of solitude. But without champions, the land was seized by a vile power, the Enchantress and her Order of No Quarter. No quarter means no mercy. I learned that from watching someone else's Let's Play, and now you know. Now, the tower is unsealed and devastation looms. A new adventure is about to begin. I love how they time it, so that if you're reading it out loud, it's perfectly timed. I don't know if they did that, but like in every other game, it's not like that. So here we go. It's Shovel Knight time. Buttons are really easy. I am using a Pro controller because it is my favorite controller of like a lot of controllers. It's really nice. But I'm using the control pad because I prefer pads over sticks. You can dance, the Mega Man dance. There's also a duck in this game that is basically useless. B is jump, and Y and A, so you have your choice, are the attack button, if you will. But rather, it is a shovel button. If you hold down, you can do a down stab that, well, a lot of people say it's reminiscent of DuckTales. It's actually based on the down stab from The Adventure of Link, which, really, I think let's go with DuckTales, because we're going to go with the game that's, I know I prefer. I don't really care for The Adventure of Link. I think it's, a lot of people like it, and I can understand, sort of, but I really don't. So, killing enemies gets you jewels. Now, in normal games like this, the 8-bit indie platformer or whatever, they're just a callback to the whole thing of, hey, you can get points. Except not in this game. The points are actually very, very useful. Use them to buy stuff. And buying stuff in this game, there's a lot to buy. And a lot of ways you can go about buying stuff in different orders, which is really cool to give a different sort of way to play each time. And we got a checkpoint. You can actually break them somehow. I've never actually been able to. I think you have to use something else and get money from them, which is a really crazy concept where if you want to get money, you can just destroy checkpoints, but then it stops being a checkpoint and you can't use it again. It's such a cool idea. This game is just full of really cool ideas. And they're not done yet, really, because this game is going to be getting additional content later down the road in the form of free patches, including more stories to play through, new levels, a multiplayer mode, and oh my gosh, everyone needs to buy this game. When I first played this, I was like, okay, it's going to be fun. But as soon as you pick it up, you're like, it feels so perfect. Now, one cool thing about this is this game has a lot of secrets, And unlike, say, Metroid games where you just kind of have to blindly look, whenever you think, oh, hey, there should be a secret here, there is. This is teaching you that if you ever see a little indent on the wall, hit it and boom, a whole thing opens up. But in a similar vein, as you can see here, there's no little mark. But if you hit it, you still get the same effect, showing that, hey, just because there's no secret mark doesn't mean you can't get into a secret thing there. And that is good game design. I remember I was watching the Far From Subtle playthrough, and they didn't get that. They're like, well, how come this wall broke, but there was no mark here? And I'm like, well, because they're teaching you, or they taught you earlier, it was actually at a different point, that at that point, you know, they're teaching you that you don't have to have the mark on the wall to do it. And I just think it's really cool. These little piles here always give you jewels and stuff. Very good. Sometimes you get health from them, which is quite nice. And that little music note we picked up is a important sort of unlockable for the game. Number one, they unlock music, which is cool, but they actually have a secondary use that is, in all honesty, actually a lot cooler. Where in this game, if you die, you lose a percentage of your money, which sucks, because, you know, the more money you have, the more you lose. Also, don't break these blocks here, because otherwise you can't get to this, which is more money. But, if you keep the music note page, instead of losing the money, you'll get to sort of keep it, because you can sell those for money. You sell those back to the musician, who then unlocks the music and gives you money for it. So they're almost like an insurance sort of thing where, okay, even though I lost all my money in the stage because I kept dying, even though you can retrieve it, which is another awesome feature, that's where they take the Dark Souls inspiration from. Or rather, the other way around, I kind of screwed that up. But, yeah, there's like a lot of really cool ways that you can do things, and everything has different functions, and it really goes to show that even though this game is, you know, and I don't really like the whole, oh, it's a retro indie platformer thing. I think it's a trope that should honestly be starting on its way out, or at least move on to the 16-bit era, because 16-bit looks really good. But this one, it's funny, it doesn't look like it's restricted by NES restrictions. Like, I can't see a lot of this actually being in an NES game. Well, widescreen, number one, but... So right here, for instance, number one, you break this open, and these skeleton enemies, you'll be surprised. A lot of the enemies in this game, they're not like basic sort of enemies. So you look here, and oh, look, there's that treasure chest. I wonder how I get it. So you go back, and you can break the wall here, and get more. Now, I don't know every secret in this game, because I've actually only played up to the 4th boss so far. Well, 4th main boss. There's a couple bonus bosses and stuff. But, for the first couple levels, I know quite a bit, because I've played through them multiple times now, just getting better. And, well, first for my blind Let's Play, which failed. And then later for my I'm just gonna play this now that I can Let's Play, which, was a lot of fun. Bouncing on enemies feels really good. Like, it doesn't feel like DuckTales, because it doesn't feel like... In DuckTales, you have to have the actual pogo hit it. I think that's the first time I've been hit this entire run. You have to have the pogo itself hit it. But in this, your hitbox for the actual thing is so much bigger that it doesn't feel like you're mistakenly getting hit yourself. Now, I'm actually waiting for him to run back a bit, because, as you can see, there's a pit there. And if you kill him while he's over the pit, all the money and jewels and stuff go away. So we want him to scroll back, if he will. Or not, whatever. There we go. Whoops, that was close. Because falling down that pit, it's death. As you can see, he drops it, and it goes down the pit. Makes me sad. Now, there's an item you can get that can help you retrieve. Oh, boy. Well, that's death number 1. But as you can see, you lose some of your money. But the money bags will be floating where you drop them. Sometimes in a little bit of a different spot. And I honestly didn't see that slime there. Slightly different spot, but that's just to actually make it so that you can more easily get it, I think. I hope. I don't think I've ever come across where it's actually made it harder for me to get. And I ran into that a second time. You have to be careful too. You yourself, after killing him, can fall into this pit. So you kind of want to just be careful about that. Thank you for the apple. As you can see, my money's here, so it's all good. And, okay, well, yeah. I didn't die once in my first blind Let's Play of this, so that's, kind of sad. But, whatever, you will die a lot in this game, I will say. It is, well, not hard by some NES game standards, it's still a pretty decently hard game, especially when you get to the bosses later. But the nice thing is the game never really punishes you for dying. Number one, there's no lives, which is really nice. It's like, you know, in a lot of games, lives are everything. And once you lose the lives, well, depending on the game, you can lose everything. Okay, I'm gonna get this guy with a different approach this time, except I didn't. I just got lucky with the same approach. Here's another thing. In a lot of other games, if you were to have to make this jump here, this sort of pixel-perfect jump, I always worry about those. But in this game, these pixel sort of, like, one standing pillar things, you feel safe on them. You feel safe getting to them just because the jump is so reliable in this. It doesn't feel like you ever, like, accidentally jump somewhere you're not supposed to, or you miss the jump because of some terrible stuff. It feels like everything is done the way, like, where if you do it wrong, it's your fault. It's not the game's fault. And that's a really nice thing, especially for when it's an oldie-style game. And I think this game does do everything just perfectly for both newcomers and veterans of the genre, if you can call it a genre. You know, so we come over here, rustle around, and we get some more stuff. There's a lot of secrets in this game, some of which are surprisingly difficult to get to, some of which require special items, you know, Mega Man style, and some of which are just, you know, pretty easy to find. You see it and you're like, oh. And so, I don't think once I've ever had a thing where I questioned, am I taking the main path? Am I going the right way? I know in a lot of games I have trouble with that, where I see a place to go and I'm like, well, first off, I knew you'd show your face sooner or later, the cerulean coward. Turn back, Shovel Knight. There's nothing here for you anymore. Stand aside, Black Knight. I've no quarrel with you. I must return to the Tower of Fate. Your time away has dulled your senses. Can't you see? This entire valley has been conquered by the Enchantress, and her invincible knights of the Order of No Quarter stand between you and the tower. But none of that matters, because anyone after the Enchantress has to go through me. Steal thy shovel. Black Knight, he's the rival, he's the Proto-Man, he's the guy who's sort of like the same moveset enemy guy. You know what I'm talking about, this trope has been done for ages. First boss, not terribly difficult, but still enough that if you're unprepared, you will lose. And I think it's nice. He also has fireballs, which is bullshit because we don't get fireballs. I don't even know if we ever do. Well, okay, we do. And they're bigger than the ones that you do get. So you do have to be careful. He does have a lot less health than other bosses. I was adjusting my headset there and I nearly got hit. And he does an 8-bit style laugh, which I love. I really hope he's playable in the multiplayer mode, because he is kind of just a clone of Shovel Knight. But, you done? It's like, he dekes you out. In fact, so much so, I have 1 health left, but that's alright, we have slain him. And we get 1,000 gold, just because we totally picked his pockets after he fell. And he runs away. And time for one of my favorite things about this game. The sleep screen. I don't know what it is, but it just, look at how beautiful that is. And like, this is really cool too. So if you remember, Shield Knight was apparently gone missing. So when this happens, it happens every once in a while. You have to catch her. And look at this sprite! Look at the emotion! Look, oh! I don't know if there's something for getting her on all the times. Also, you can't move, you have to actually jump. But I think there is. I haven't. I missed her in one. But here's something that's really cool and sort of like a little hidden ace-up of the game. You see your smoldering fire? Oh, well, you put it out. And the first time you do that, you get an achievement, or, well, rather, a feat. Where is it? Where is it? Nope. There it is. Only you. Use caution and common sense around campfires. That's such a nice little thing. It's Smokey Bear, only you. That's great. So before we move on to the next level and before we actually move on to the next part, I'm going to quickly run into the village. This is one of many villages that you can go to. Halt! No weapons. We have enough to worry about lately without anyone running around swinging swords everywhere. I completely butchered that sentence because I wasn't actually looking at it. Oh, haha, that's no weapon, just a shovel. You may enter then. And don't forget, press up to talk to everyone. So you can talk to people and they all have advice. None of it really good advice, really. I mean, well, some of them are good, like, turkeys and apples can restore your life. I just found this out, so I'm telling everyone. Like, yeah, it's common sense. Here's the bard dude. You can give him your stuff, and I think we will actually right now. Hail, traveler. I am but a simple bard, but I have a big problem. I've lost all my music sheets. My entire repertoire lays scattered across the land. If you ever find a music sheet, return it to me, and I shall reward you handsomely. Whoa, you have 2 music sheets. So you give them to him. It's weird. B is the enter in this game. And I think it's going back to like the old school controller way, which makes sense. But still, I press B to enter. Wonderful! Let's see here. Ooh, you found Strike the Earth. Ah, Ostentanto Trumpet Triplets. Is there anything you can't render into pure magic? So, you give him it, and he gives you money, and you can listen to him, and he rocks out on his lute. I think that's a lute. So you can ask him to play any song. Steal the Shovel. You can go, for info. I used to be the house band at the Hero Registry. But all the applicants kept yelling at me and throwing things at me. So most of the time, the info about the song isn't even related to it. If you go in here, Goatician, decision. Should I extend my magic or health, or just eat a tin can? Why not buy a meal ticket? Meal tickets are your health containers, if you will. You buy it and then you bring it to this guy, and he extends your health. A meal ticket. Hand it to me. I'll get to work on my best recipe. I'll dazzle your palate in no time or less, so bon appetit and pardon the mess. He reminds me of Soul Bad Guy for some reason. I think it's just the color scheme. But he puts out some food. Jump up here and grab it. We got some, looks like a rack of some rib. Take it, and your health permanently increases. It's really nice to have. You can come back and get more health from buying more meal tickets to a certain point. If we go over here, we get this guy. Hey, Shovel Knight, I know things are tough, but don't throw in the trowel. Psst, that King Knight, you give him an inch, he thinks he's a ruler. I travel with some horse adventures, but they are all so negative. This guy's the best. No, this guy's the best. He's the Troupple Acolyte. Hello, fish friend. All hail the Troupple King. And the first time I was like, what? Who? You've never heard of the Troupple King? Half trout and half apple, pronounced like mouthful. He's one of the forest gods here to help those in need. I'm telling the truth. If you ever visit the sacred grotto, hold your chalice aloft and the Troupple mouthful, ow, Troupple King will appear. As it happens, I haven't been entrusted to sell Troupple chalices to believers. Would you like one? Yes, you will want these. These are some of the best things you can get. I'm going to buy both of them right now because, as you will see, this is another thing where it's like taking parodies of other games and using them better than in the originals. But first off, we have Chester here, who is a jerk. You'll see why later. Psst, hey blue guy, you wouldn't believe the merchandise I've got for you today. So you can buy items from him. The only one worth really buying at this point, and the only one you can buy the Chaos Orb, but it's, you know the bouncy thing from Super Mario Land, like the original, the bouncy flower? That's basically what it is. Don't get that. Get the fishing rod. And fishing rod is just a good item if you ever need to get a little extra money or the situation arises. So, as you can see here, we have some people. The Juice Maid. Ah, new face. Dancers, acolytes, witches, and goats. Everyone's welcome in here. We have this chick. She's a dancer. Whoo, that's Spectre Knight. If someone could defeat him, I would bestow upon them my greatest treasure. We have this guy. That's the king, actually. That's the old king. Oh, woe is me, the king of nothing, not to rule but my lone bar stool. King Knight sits upon Pridemore's throne. That gilded goon, he'll get his soon. You have the witch here. Grandma Swamp. Oh, sorry, she's not a witch. Double trouble, soil and shovel, my third eye knows your useless infos. Excavatio, the number of dig piles you've dug is 7. Aurum infinitosa. Aura means gold. Infiniosa, I'm guessing, means infinite, which is a lie. The amount of gold you've collected is 6,037. Thanato refutatum. Well, Thanato means death. The number of times you've fallen in battle is 2. Temporium perpetua. The total time you spend adventuring is 17 minutes 20 seconds. I magically see all of your acts. Come back again for more useful facts. Or I'd say it's more useless. And if you go in here, break the wall, you see a surprisingly cute girl who's also green and reminds me of an Adventure Time character. So you come in here, and for 100 gold, you can play a game which is actually fairly difficult. What you have to do is you have to... Whoops, I screwed up. You have to knock these things, the potions, into the goals. Now, you don't have... I thought you had to match color. Color does not matter. You just have to hit any of them. You want to hit the glowing ones because they burst out into multiple. The only thing is that this does take a while, and you can make money with this. However, there are better ways to make money. I feel like just going through an older level is a lot more fun, and a lot more... I completely missed with that red one, I think. It's a lot more fun to just go back into old levels, and you can... Like this, it's neat. I don't know if there's actually any big unlockable for doing this. I'm doing a lot better than when I first did. You can't get them all. There's no way. Oops. So as you can see, I got 166. You got 166 points, Yawn. Well, color me impressed. Oh, I got it. I got this stuff. I didn't get that last time. So that's neat. You get a music note and some money. And, yes. And on our way out, there's a lot of people to talk to. In fact, there's a lot of text in this game. This guy's just wanted to know if you're Shovel Knight, so you shovel for him, and you show him that you are the real Shovel Knight. Now, I was wondering how you get that. You can't jump up there. You jump on this lady and get up there. Brilliant. So guys, with that, that is the end of part 1. Next time, we're going to be going after the King Knight in Pridemore Keep to restore balance to the throne and all that stuff. So, see you next time.